Okay, let's talk about something a lot of people think they know, but might have completely wrong. We're diving into a huge question about pregnancy, and it all boils down to this one surprising biological fact: a 5-day window that honestly changes everything.
So here's the big one. Is it impossible to get pregnant if you have sex on your period? For, generations, the answer you'd hear is a very confident yes, right? It's so widespread that it's just treated as a fact. But is it really?
Well, according to the health experts, the answer is not so simple. As Clear Blue puts it right here, fact, it's less likely, but it can happen. So, how on earth is that possible? Well, the answer lies in two biological clues that pretty much solve this whole mystery.
Okay, our first clue is all about survival. Specifically, the huge difference in the lifespans of sperm and an egg once they're inside the body. This timing difference, well, it's the absolute key to understanding the risk. And this is where the surprise really kicks in. So an egg, once it's released during ovulation, is only viable for about 12 to 24 hours, a really short window. But sperm are incredible survivors. They can live inside the female reproductive tract for up to 5 full days. 5 days. That is the number that matters. It means sperm can literally just wait around inside the body for an egg to show up for almost a whole week. You can see how this one fact completely changes the game.
So you're probably wondering, how do they pull that off? It's actually a pretty brilliant strategy. The seminal fluid gives them initial protection, and then the strongest ones find these tiny little safe havens in the cervix called cervical crypts. Think of them like little biological hotels, keeping the sperm safe, nourished, and releasing them over several days to maximize the chance of meeting an egg.
So we have our first clue. Sperm can wait for 5 days. Now for the second piece of the puzzle, and that's the menstrual cycle itself. And here's the big secret. For most people, it is not the perfect, predictable clockwork we're all taught it is.
We've all seen this in health class, right? The classic textbook 28-day cycle. Day 1, your period starts. Day 14, like clockwork, you ovulate. This predictable model is exactly why the myth that you can't get pregnant on your period exists. But how common is this normal cycle really?
Yeah, not very common at all. A massive study in 2020 found that only 16% of women actually have a 28-day cycle. That means for a staggering 84% of women, the so-called average cycle is the exception, not the rule.
In reality, a totally healthy, normal cycle can be anywhere from 21 to 35 days. And here's the crucial part. Ovulation usually happens about 14 days before your next period. So if you have a shorter 21-day cycle, you could ovulate as early as day 7. Your body's not a machine, and research shows that nearly half of women have their cycle length change by more than a week.
So, let's recap. Clue number 1, sperm can survive for up to 5 days. Clue number 2, menstrual cycles are all over the place. Now, let's put them together and see the surprising picture they create.
Okay, in that perfect textbook 28-day cycle, you can see why people believe the myth. Your period ends around day 6, but the fertile window doesn't even start until about day 12. There's a nice, clean separation. No overlap, so it seems like there's no risk. It feels safe. But now, let's look at a perfectly normal but shorter 21-day cycle. Your period might still end on day 6. But look, ovulation now happens way earlier, around day 7. And since the fertile window is the 5 days leading up to ovulation plus ovulation day itself, it now stretches from day 2 to day 7. All of a sudden, your fertile window and your period are happening at the exact same time.
Let's walk through exactly how this can happen. Step 1. You have unprotected sex toward the end of your period, let's say on day 5. Step 2. Those super durable sperm are now just waiting in their little hotels and can survive until day 10. Step 3. You just happen to ovulate early this month, maybe on day 8. Step 4. The waiting sperm are already there, ready to meet the newly released egg. And that's it. That's how conception can happen from sex during your period.
And listen, this isn't just some wild theory. The data confirms it. One study found that on day 4 of the cycle, when many people are still menstruating, there's already a 2% chance of being in your fertile window. And by day 7, that probability jumps all the way up to 17%. The risk might be small on some days, but it is absolutely not zero.
Okay, so we've broken down the biology. We've looked at the stats, but what does this all mean for you in the real world? Why does busting this myth actually matter so much?
Well, for starters, it means that relying on any kind of calendar tracking, what people call the rhythm method, is incredibly risky. The whole idea is based on your body having a perfect, predictable rhythm, but as we've just seen, that's just not the reality for most people.
Let's be super clear here. Your period is not a failsafe. Studies show that only about 30% of women have a fertile window that fits neatly into any predictable safe zone. Not only that, but some people experience spotting during ovulation that can be mistaken for a period. And an off cycle can happen to anyone at any time for any reason, like stress.
So, after exploring the surprising life of sperm, the unpredictable reality of the menstrual cycle, and that shocking overlap between them, we can finally move from a really dangerous myth to a clear, actionable fact.
And here it is. This is it. If you remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. Your period is not a form of birth control.
The only way to be certain that you're protected from pregnancy is to use effective contraception every single time, no matter where you are in your cycle. And it's also really important to remember that barrier methods, like condoms, are the only way to protect against STIs, and the risk of transmitting those can actually be higher during menstruation.
Which brings us right to our final question. Now that you know the science, now that you know about the 5-day wait and the reality of how much cycles can vary, is believing in an old myth really worth the risk? It's a powerful reminder that really understanding how our bodies work is the best way to make empowered, healthy decisions.